Hey folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for the final episode of Combo Week. And today we're going to be playing with Byron H's PAINTERCAST deck list. So we've got two primary things going on here. The first is a classic legacy combo, Painter Servant plus Grindstone. Painter Servant lets you turn all cards into cards of a certain color of your choice. And Grindstone will infinitely mill your opponent out since all their cards are the same color. They look at the colors, they say, oh, both of these are red, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going until you have an empty library, and then bam, draw a card for your turn, and since you don't have any cards in your library, you lose the game. That's side one of this equation. Now, side two of this equation is going to look pretty familiar because it's the core of the 8-cast deck. So we are going to be playing Thoughtcasts and Thought Monitors, although admittedly we're not going up to the full 8, as well as a playset of Kappa Cannoneer. So the goal here is to strain the opponent's resources. They have to respect the combo finish that this deck has that can just instantly kill them as soon as turn 2 or 3 in some very nut draw situations, while also having to deal with very large creatures like Kappa Cannoneer that are hard to answer, and value-oriented lands like Urza's Saga that can produce a lot of tokens. Generally speaking, for the past year, I've been of the opinion that Painter has kind of been an underappreciated and underexplored archetype, and so I'm really excited to try out this kind of Painter deck that is attacking from multiple different angles. A lot of times, the Painter decks will be built with a greater reliance on the graveyard, with things like Goblin Welder and Goblin Engineer kind of going and bringing things back. This one is built more on card advantage and just the raw power of Kappa Cannoneer. Because this card's dumb. I know it says it's a 4/4 on the card, but this really enters as a 5/5 since it triggers off of itself, and it spirals out of control very quickly, especially when paired with extra draw effects. Now, one thing here, though, is that some number of these artifacts really need to remain in play in order to make the affinity side of these creatures and the reduced cost for Kappa Cannoneer from Improvise good. As far as the sideboard goes, there's a handful of blue elemental blasts here, and you might go how much red stuff is there in the metagame? And what I want to remind you is you can use Painter's Servant to name red, and then these become 1 mana hard counter spells or 1 mana vindicates for whatever it is you need to answer. So that's what's going on with those. I do really like Karn Scion of Urza as a sideboard option. There's a decent number of slow controlling decks in the format, be they Bant decks or Jeskai decks, where just having something that can produce extra construct tokens sounds pretty valuable. I am a little worried about the fact that we don't have much true removal in the 75. So, for example, if we're up against a really aggressive deck that is trying to go after our life total with things like early Dragon Rage channelers and things of that nature, we're not actually all that great at killing them. We can bounce some stuff out of play with a spell bomb if an opponent slips something like a Murktide Regent through. But we're very much looking to either combo kill our opponent or just make things that are so much more threatening than what they are doing. We're not looking to answer opponent's stuff. You kind of take a look at the main deck, the deck building philosophy is very clear, right? There's Force of Will for interaction, and then some minimal artifacts that can be tutored off Urza Saga, but otherwise we're extremely light on interaction. All right, I think that's all I've got to say here, so let's go ahead and jump into the matches. One piece of feedback that I would appreciate today is, did you like the idea of Combo Week? Was this cool? Something that made you want to keep tuning in every day to see the other combo decks, or was it I wish you would have played Maverick one day this week or something like that? Did you want the variety? Very much would appreciate knowing that. Okay, let's battle. Okay. Weird hand because I'm a little mana light here, but I think I go ahead and keep this hand and just kind of assume that between the mana sources I have and the Force of Will to protect things that are going on here, this hand's going to be decent. Finishing my thought, we really don't want to get hit by a discard spell, though, because before the Painter Servant is down, I can't actually use Force of Will to protect the things that are going on with this hand. That was going to be the continuation of that thought. Life is cruel. Alright, and we have indeed lost the painter, kind of as expected. Ooh, that's really good. Alright, so we can go like Seat, Petal, Bauble, loop an Emery into play. Emery will allow me to play a painter from the graveyard as well as like reuse Lotus Petals. Didn't hit anything other than the painter here. Given that my opponent is a discard deck, I think I'm just going to go ahead and store most of my permanents in play, like in the fashion of Pauper, rather than hold cards in my hand. And then there will be a question about whether or not I crack the Bauble immediately for a card. I think I want to hit lands, so the answer is probably yes. But it's not a 100% yes situation. Ooh, we might be playing against like a Dead Guy Ale style deck. Indeed we are. I think I will go ahead and crack the Bauble here. Looking at a Marsh Flats. That's fine. Just looking to hit some mana here. Grindstone Bauble. Okay. Yeah. So always playing Bauble. Am I always playing Painter? I think I'm always playing Painter. So by going and putting Painter into play, I can make everything blue. And when everything is blue, that means this Grindstone that is in my hand is now blue, meaning that I can pitch it to Force of Will. And I am not going to immediately... okay. I am not going to immediately crack this Bauble since my opponent is playing a discard deck. Just going to kind of store this here, and I'll probably use it at my opponent's end step. Again, I just need to hit one more mana source because I can get a Lotus Petal from Graveyard already. There's a source to Plowshares. There is my Force of Will to deal with it. And obviously no attacks from the Bob into Painter. And let's Bauble now. Dark Ritual, not unsurprising. Kappa Cannoneer is cool. I think we're largely trying to just win the game here. So let's take a Lotus Petal. Play an Urza Saga. I don't know, I could just like loop this into play, right? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I can't quite do that. Yeah, I'll probably just go for a kill on my opponent's upkeep then. Do I let them untap the white source versus use their mana now? Sudden Edict comes to mind as like a thing they're super likely to have. Might just actually go for it now. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. Tell me what you got. Like, I feel if my opponent had a Fatal Push type card, that already would have been fired off potentially. Yeah, okay, cool. Just seems like my opponent wouldn't have let me untap with both of those creatures if they had the option to kill them. Okay, we are playing against a white-black control deck of some nature, probably Dead Guy Ale, so there's potentially like Stoneforge Mystics and such running around. How do I want to sideboard / do I even want to sideboard? They're pretty respectable at dealing with my combo. I've got a decent amount of recursion. I'm not sure that I want Force of Wills. Like, my blue cards are just good in this matchup. What does this look like if I go down on Force of Will? I could play Karn, 2 Dismembers to answer early Bobs or Stone Forges, and like a Brazen Borrower or something to answer equipment. Or alternatively, I could Pithing Needle. I probably don't need Soul Guide Lantern as well. Most of the time I see myself either getting like stable mana with a Mox Opal or getting a Spellbomb to bounce something out of the way. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to need to draw a card with this specifically. Get a Borrower and a Pithing Needle in there. I think I'm good with that. It's like possible that I want to play Force of Will on the draw, but I'm not super excited about the prospect. Like, for example, I would Force of Will a Hymn to Turok, but if my opponent is doing that quickly, it costs them a Dark Ritual and a Hymn to Turok to get 2 of my cards. So, like, eh. Speaking of that's what this hand is. Against a discard deck, I think I'll just keep it. Like, I'm not getting blown out of the water by a Wasteland. I'm not getting blown out of the water by a Hymn to Turok. It's very good if I top deck a Painter. Pretty good if I top deck something like a Kappa Cannoneer or a Thoughtcast effect. Like, while the hand isn't super impressive, I think it's good enough. Sure. That's a little annoying in terms of accelerating me towards affinity cards like this. Yeah. Okay. Open myself up to Wasteland and work on my artifact count. Kind of makes sense to me. All right. Eat Grindstone, and we're going to be kind of taking this one a little slow here. Don't have much to say about a turn 1 Deafening Silence. I don't super care about Deafening Silence with a lot of hands if I get a chance to get my initial lands out there. All right, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, I knew that was coming. Oh yeah, super happy that my opponent is not actually just like doing something that is going to kill me though. So I guess that's nice. What's the play in terms of this other stuff? I think I'm just gonna keep. Well, I can build my artifact count with this for diversity. Ooh, okay. The opponent is the red guy ale deck. So they are going to have Hidetsugu consumes all, which is exceptionally good against my deck. Okay. I'm gonna just go Ancient Tomb Thoughtcast and try to dig towards an actual win condition. That might be fine. Let's do that. Hey, there's a Painter Servant and a Dismember. Um, Instants are really good because this is more than one non-creature spell each turn. So I can do something on my turn and then something on my opponent's turn and be just relatively happy with that. No! No! Just got that good card. I needed it for killing. And the fact that I can't just, like, quickly churn through these baubles is, like, very real. Like, I am not in immediate danger of death or anything, but life's a little hard. This drops me to 15. Alright. Good stuff. Emery's only kind of good. Like, Emery becomes a lot less good when you can only cast one non-creature spell each turn, especially with, like, the whole Dalthy Voidwalker graveyard thing that's going on here. So I think I am probably just going to bobble and then dismember the Dalthy Voidwalker after it attacks specifically. I need it to be tapped. It's super awkward if my opponent fires off a discard spell. I think I just live with that awkwardness. Play a bobble. Because, like, opponent is very much incentivized to just continue attacking with the Dalthy Voidwalker, and I don't think, like, a draw to divination effect is worth sacrificing the Dalthy Voidwalker for, as opposed to just turning it sideways. I am apparently wrong. Alright. Yeah, I don't... From my perspective, I don't think that was worth it. Maybe they're sitting on 2 lands towards a Hidetsugu consumes all or something, and, like, that's their plan. Okay, it is a Stoneforge Mystic instead. Absolutely. Alright, that does indeed get a Cauldra. I think I'm going to pop that out so I remember. I am just going to immediately dunk that card. So, opponent played Urborg, so this actually costs me less life than I thought it was going to. Alright, do I bobble? I think it's probably okay to bobble. Like, a decent artifact count does matter. Ah, there is a Hidetsugu consumes all. Alright. So, in case you're not familiar with this one, the first mode is going to destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. What the fuck? Why? Yeah, sure. I'm so surprised here. I'll take my card from my bauble, please. There's a Saga. Do I sandbag that until my opponent has done Hidetsugu consumes all? They also left 1 Thoughtcast in my graveyard. Rather than exiling it, just let the record show. It's awkward for me because, like, the second stage exiles my graveyard, making my Emery just noticeably worse. I'll have some baubles in hand. I think it'll be fine. I think I'm going to use that to just immediately draw a card and see if anything changes about my turn. Ottawa is okay. Well, that does make that more expensive. Well, that's fine, because I can play this and a creature. And let's see if we fish anything fancy into the graveyard. The answer is no. I don't really want that Karn in the graveyard. It's so powerful here. Now we see if I've, like, how opponent feels about this situation. Like, are they going to just cast that card? Seems like yes. So I will go ahead and crack this Urza's Bauble. Opponent reveals Hidetsugu consumes all at random. Unfucking fortunate. Now the thing is that my opponent has destroyed their Deafening Silences, which, like, absolutely does some real things for me. Okay, so many surgical extractions. Um, so my primary game plan here has now become beat my opponent with something like a Kappa Cannoneer that dodges Hidetsugu consumes all. All right, are you a land? You feel like you're probably a land. I can play Bauble, Bauble. That's 2 artifacts. Urza Saga can be 3 artifacts. Emery can be 4 artifacts. What are you costing right now? You're costing 5 right now. I can make you cost 4. Um, yeah, let's play this. I also maybe don't just want to make a construct token and instead make it easier to do thought monitor shit. I'm just looking for a Kappa Cannoneer, right? Oh my god, my opponent left my grindstones in graveyard as well. What the fuck? So am I supposed to just put a grindstone into play so that they don't get exiled? And just kind of force my opponent to play this super awkward game? Yeah, I guess so. That's super weird. Okay. Yeah, alright. So there's a grindstone. How much do you cost? You cost 4. I'm good with that. 4 mana. There's a thought monitor. There's a Kappa Cannoneer. So I'll save this Urza's Bauble for next turn then. And I will go ahead and crack these immediately, I think. That's fine with me. Opponent's drawing a Verdant Catacombs. There is a world where I can draw, like, Force of Will plus blue card exactly here. Alright. So goodbye to the stuff in my graveyard. Since I have another Bauble in hand, I'm fine with losing both of those to this effect. Okay, there is a concession. So if I were to take a guess, I'm going to guess that my opponent is new to Magic Online specifically and does not know how surgical extraction works on Magic Online. So just in case you're not familiar with this, you choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card, search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card, and exile them. So, although you target the card initially, you do have to click on it again to exile it. So, I think that was an important distinction there. But, like, since I knew what was going on with my opponent's deck, I also kind of, like, played around this relatively well, and I think I was going to grind through. Okay. I have a bit of an awkward opening hand here in that, like, the hand almost works, but without this being on for Metalcraft, I can't actually cast this Emery and get things going. So I think I'm just going to mulligan here and try to find a hand that can take advantage of what I've got going on a little bit better. And it absolutely feels like this qualifies. I think I will be pitching the second Emery here. And I think just playing the seat on turn 1 rather than trying to just turbo Urza's Saga as quickly as possible. Battle. Opal. Beat. Mox Opal is now on. Play an Emery. Get some stuff in the graveyard. Thoughtcast costs 2. Do I want to junk my Lotus Petal to immediately play Thoughtcast? I don't think so. I think my artifact count matters too much here. Because, like, I have multiple Thought Monitors in graveyard that I'm hoping to maybe play next turn. Ooh, we are in an Urza's Saga mirror. Sure. An Urza's Bauble. Alright, so I will play a Bauble. Play my own Urza's Saga. I control 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's fine. I can go ahead and target a Thought Monitor. Or excuse me, it costs 3. So let's go ahead and fire that off. Draw a couple cards. You cost 1 now, right? Yeah, you cost 1. I'll give up a Lotus Petal for a draw 2 here. Sure, I think I'll play out the Bauble, but hold Lotus Petal. or later. Call it a turn there. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 artifacts in play, kind of 6 artifacts in play. So I have a 1 mana Thought Monitor if I don't gunk these baubles. I think I'm just going to leave the baubles in play here. Okay, there is a Thought Cast. Target a Thought Monitor here. I need to play a Lotus Petal first to make it cost 1. There is Thought Monitor. Ooh, Ancient Tomb is really good. Honestly, so is Kappa Cannoneer. Yeah. I can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 1 with Lotus Petal rather than sacrifice it. Kappa Cannoneer triggers off itself. Play Ancient Tomb so that I can activate Urza's Saga. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Yeah. The best thing there is that I did not show any of my painter elements. So in one of these two post-sideboard games, like, I very well might get, like, a juke that allows me to, just win a game via the combo. Okay. I have options as far as sideboarding goes. A lot of the cards in my deck are going to be kind of medium quality, right? Like, a Soul Guide Lantern can do something against an opposing Emery. A Spellbomb can bounce something out of play, but it's kind of slow. I don't know how much I am actually going to sideboard. I think this might be like, we're going to throw cards at each other and see comes out on top. Yeah, I kind of just want to be doing my broken stuff. I might need Force of Will as a break to stop opponent from doing their broken stuff, like with them being on the play. I think when I'm on the play, I want this Karn and probably the Pithing Needle. I don't know, on the draw, Pithing Needle to stop an opposing Urza Saga is pretty good. I don't need the constructs from my Urza Saga, since I have, like, this Painter kill as well, but my opponent might. Let's shrink this graveyard package, because I think a lot of times I'm either going to get Grindstone, Pithing Needle, or Shadow Spear anyway, so let's trim that package and get this Karn in here. I don't like the Karn quite as much on the draw, but it's still just a powerful card. Okay. Oh, this one's tough. If I go Land Bauble, Emery costs 2. I can't actually play Emery for 1 mana on turn 1. If I draw a couple of artifacts, this hand can become very powerful, but I think I'd rather come out swinging faster. Like, my opponent would have started making constructs on turn 2. That would have been very powerful. I basically killed them on turn 3 instead. I think I'm just going to go ahead and mulligan here. Turn 1, Saga. Turn 2, Painter. Or I guess it can be turn 1 Ottawa. I don't have to go Saga turn 1. This is going to be a keep. I'll be probably just throwing back Emery and just trying to Painter Grindstone, kill my opponent on turn 3. Alright, keep. Keep Emery for redundancy, or this for the third land drop. This third land drop is important if my opponent does something crazy like plays a Chalice on 0. I think I'm just gonna... I'll get rid of the Emery. Like, I think this is a I'm going to try to Goldfish you hand. That's good. Alright. Ottawara. Grindstone. I think I just put this in play. And put opponent in this really awkward spot in regards to, like, having to hold up mana for Aether Spellbomb or die. I also might just stick a Kappa Cannoneer in a turn or 2 and kill my opponent that way. Urza Saga or Island. I think I'm just going to play Island. Everything is, I don't know. Everything could just be like white or something. It doesn't super matter here. I don't want to pick blue because, like, my opponent's deck also has Force of Will. But we'll see what all they do here. Oh, a Nettle Cyst. That is a big boy. How large are you currently? 5/5. Absolutely respectable. Okay. Oh yeah. So this was kind of the juke I was planning as a last turn. Force opponent to hold this up and then Kappa Cannoneer. All right. There's a Saga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Improvise 6. Yeah. The plan has become play Kappa Cannoneer into Kappa Cannoneer and kill my opponent that way. Like, all the all the grindstone type stuff has become secondary. It still puts a lot of pressure on opponent. Um, ooh, Burning Spellbomb is pretty cool. Crucible Urza Saga, also cool. Yeah, the flyer there is very respectable. That's gonna get me dead in like 2 turns. Okay. Alright. We are absolutely off to the races here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can use these 2 lands to make an idiot. And then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can idiot and Kappa Cannoneer. I think I'm on board with that. Alright, so that grows this. This is going to require an Ancient Tomb activation. I think I'm good with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do actually need the initial blue mana. Tap, tap, tap. This has to be used for blue. Oh, that will trigger my other Kappa Cannoneer again. Well, truly, it triggers both of them. And then I will bash in for half of my opponent's life total, and then any artifact next turn kills my opponent. Yeah, and I have onboard artifacts from Urza Saga Construct token and Urza Saga Tutor ability. So, oh fuck. Oh, am I dead? What's the equip cost on that? 2? Ah. Well, shit. That is 17 damage in the air. Fuck my Kappa Cannoneers, apparently. Wow. Yeah, that's a line that kills me, alright. Did not expect to lose that game. Huh. I mean, I guess I could have held up an Otawara instead of playing the second Kappa Cannoneer to avoid that exact line. Not used to playing around multiple Nettle Cysts. Okay. Alright, do I want to change anything given what I have seen here? Brazen Borrower looks a little better. My Kappa Cannoneers are still extremely good. Dismembers are awkward because, like, they can kill a Germ token or something, but and my opponent can just, like, re-equip that for 2 mana. Opponent can definitely Rumble. Wondering if I need / want some number of these cards. There's also a world where I need the Soul Guide Lantern to beat Crucible of Worlds Urza Saga, but hopefully I could just, like, aggro kill with a Kappa Cannoneer or something. I think I'm just going to keep my configuration the way it is and trust that I can do something broken that kills my opponent in one way or another. This is going to be a keep. Alright, so Bobble, Petal, Mox Opal. I think I do want the active Emery. So let's see what we throw in graveyard. Nothing. That's okay, I guess. Urza Saga. For right now, I probably keep all 3 of those for Metalcraft reasons. Although now if I have 1, 2, 3, I can crack Bobble and try to draw into exactly Force of Will. I think I'm okay with that. I have seen a Hercules recall. Opponent has come prepared for the mirror, apparently. Alright. Good to know. Okay, opponent has a lot of baubles. I am currently planning on riding the Urza Saga Construct token train, but, like, that's a little awkward in the face of, like, a known Hercules recall. So, like, there's that. You can take your cards. Kappa Cannoneer. Again, also slightly awkward in the face of a Hercules recall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus a counter on it. No. Yeah, no, I don't think I care about the counter. It's going to get bounced anyway. Let's do this way. So let's play the Urza's Bobble first. And then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Play out the Bobble. And this lets me just fire this off while I still have all of these artifacts in play. And potentially draw into both Force plus blue card to stop a Hercules recall. Okay, there's a Painter's Servant. Fine with just doing this. I am very much incentivizing my opponent to cast that Hercules Recall. Since I can't get both Force of Will and blue card here, I don't think I have to fuck around with getting rid of Bobble immediately. Okay, that's fine. I don't think I crack this. I have a Lotus Petal in Yard that I can get. It's actually probably fine too. Okay, one has an Emery, that's fine. Okay, I have both Painter and Grindstone here. Doesn't make a lot of sense to go and use this for a construct token when I think my opponent is just going to save 6 life anyway. Yeah, I think I'll just float the mana here. Alright. Do I just Pithing Needle their Urza Saga in this position? I can also just get Shadow Spear because, like, that... No, I'm probably winning this game with Painter Servant. Yeah, let's grab Pithing Needle. Aim Urza Saga. Grow this. Use my floating mana to play a Grindstone purely to grow this to just further incentivize my opponent to actually use the card this turn cycle. Am I always fishing Lotus Petal out of the graveyard? I think so. So again, by similar logic, let's just take care of that now. Further grow the Kappa Cannoneer. Oh, opponent is just conceding there. Okay, I don't think that game was over. I was incredibly favored, but I don't think that game was literally over. So we're up to 2-0. Okay, I just don't have enough mana in this opening hand to really do anything. So let's try to mulligan to something a little more functional. This is totally fine. I think Thoughtcast is going back. I think Thoughtcast goes back here. The Kappa Cannoneer is just such a good mid-game pivot here. Alright, so we'll Bobble. It reduces Emery's cost by 1. Seat reduces it by 2. Play Seat and start on, like, the whole Bobble Emery plan pretty much immediately. So the next question is, am I junking this Bobble? I can get a Bobble back next turn. That'll be 1, 2, 3. No, I think I'm gonna keep the Bobble in play. Or if I draw like a Mox Opal. I don't really want to pitch Kappa Cannoneer to a Force of Will right now. Yeah, that's fine. Now do I Bobble or not? I'll Bobble. I think it's close. Okay, so we're playing against a blue-white control deck of some kind. Yeah, the next card would have been a Force of Will. Okay. I am in a bit of a pickle. Because I need to draw another land so that this Urza Saga is on. So, a land or a Mox or a Lotus Petal will be a fantastic draw. Otherwise, like, could get awkward real fast. Okay, fantastic. It is a land. So now I've got Urza Saga backed by Force of Will, and I'm actually in a very good situation. Like, these are large construct tokens. And outside of opponent having something like Dress Down, I'm probably incredibly favored. While they're brainstorming, I'm just going to start thinking about my next play. Might be picking up just like a Shadow Spear. I could pick up a Soul Guide Lantern to just like draw a card and make it so that something like a Snapcaster Mage is worse. Shadow Spear for the life gain. You just like make it so that my opponent pivoting becomes harder is like very real as well. Okay, it looks like I am just going to get to do the whole Urza Saga thing. It doesn't mean like opponent just doesn't have like Dress Down or something immediately in a way that could become awkward. All right. I also could just straight up get a Mox Opal so that I could immediately Thoughtcast and replace this missing mana source. Or also just preemptively get an Aether Spellbomb to be better versus a random Shark token, but those don't feel important right now. Grab a Soul Guide Lantern and be better against Snapcaster Mage. You can also just cash this in for a card later. I don't really know what's correct here, but the lines feel close enough that it doesn't super matter. Okay, opponent doesn't randomly have Terminus on top of their deck, so that's good. Not sure what I am supposed to pitch to Force of Will if I have to Force of Will a Sweeper. I think I let them have that and then fight over anything that actually removes these construct tokens and just like force my opponent to spend more mana. That's a super limiting resource as of right now. Okay, they have found a brainstorm. Okay, that fetch land means that they are dead on board. So they absolutely have to find an answer to one of these construct tokens here or they die. I think I'm leaning towards pitching a Thoughtcast right now, but it's close. Like a Kappa Cannoneer with its Ward 4 ability is just such a pain in the ass for control decks. Alright, did you find a Sword's effect? The answer is yes. The next question is, do you have a Force of Will effect to back it up? I'm gonna pitch the Thoughtcast. Kappa Cannoneer is probably very, very good. Okay, they do have a Force of Will effect to back it up. They will live to see another day. I could cast the Kappa Cannoneer and go for a kill next turn. I think I'm just going to take my 5 damage backed by Force of Will, knowing that most draws in my deck kill my opponent next turn. Like, I can just go land into Kappa Cannoneer, and that would do it. That was a very good brainstorm then that both found a Swords to Plowshares and a Terminus. I will fight over that. Possible I'm supposed to crack the Soul Guide Lantern first to not pitch the Kappa Cannoneer to that, though. Alright, that has successfully resolved, but opponent could just like play a Teferi or something here and leave me in a bit of an awkward spot. Murktide Regent. Okay. How big is that? That is an 8/8 Murktide Regent. Understood. That card is bullshit. So because of things like Swords to Plowshares, I probably just play that out immediately. Am I just cycling this for a card since my Thoughtcast effects are so good right now? Or am I just trying to get to greater than Murktide Regent levels of power? I think I'm just going to try to get to greater than Murktide Regent levels of power, but again, it's close. Yes, I also potentially mill myself, or in case I draw an Emery at end step here. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh. So there is a 7th point of power. Not quite there. But again, most of my draws get me there. All right, no draw step Terminus or anything. That's not great for me. At this point, guess I crack this and see what I draw. Another Mox Opal. That's not great. Okay, so I will now die in 3 turns to Murktide Regent. Very cool. Shadow Spear, you're a touch late. Guess I will go ahead and play it. I guess Painter is still exactly an outright. 2 mana for Painter, 1, 2, 3 mana for Activate Grindstone. Yeah, that's still an out, but I think if I don't combo kill my opponent this turn, I'm dead. Okay, sure. Alright, come on, top deck. Thoughtcast is reasonable. That will mean I have to draw like a mana source along with a Painter, though. This pause almost certainly means that opponent has a counterspell. And if they do have a counterspell, I don't think there's any worlds in which I can win. Regardless of whether or not they counter this or the next thing that I play. Yeah, alright. Alright. Murktide Regent is a cool and fun Magic card. Okay. What is my plan here? So my opponent's playing a control deck, but they also just have fucking Murktide Regent that I have to worry about, and Dismember probably doesn't kill that most of the time. I will probably play Karn for the control deck side of the equation. I will probably play Brazen Borrower to bounce Murktide Regents and just be a respectable card. And I'll probably consider Pithing Needle or things like Teferi. I didn't see it that game. It makes sense that it would be in there. It's really going to be a question of like how many cards can I cut. I don't know that I want to be using Force of Will versus my opponent because I think about the only card I want to actively Force of Will is Murktide Regent. Like, as we saw that game, like, me Force of Willing multiple cards isn't necessarily a path to victory versus a deck with good card advantage like Expressive Iteration and also cards that can just kill you in 2 turns like Murktide Regent. Like, I want to be the one ending the game if possible. And I think I'm going to treat it as, like, I will grind through rather than protect. So let's get those 2 cards in there. Is the Pithing Needle a good option? Maybe. Maybe I don't do it when I'm on the play. Like, maybe I wait another game to see for sure if my opponent has that stuff. Like, it feels like they should. like Teferis and or Narsets. But calling in the dark is eh. Alright, let's keep 2 forces. This doesn't have the stable permanent mana that I need. I'm going to ship that one. This hand is pretty respectable. I think I keep this and pitch an Otawara. The rest of the stuff here just contributes to the Metalcraft count so meaningfully. And I can play this Urza Saga game in the early game and this Kappa Cannoneer game in the mid game. Alright, Seed Opal is my starting point. And let's get this Lady in the Lake in play. Oh, wow, it got Force of Will pitching a Jace. Okay. Planeswalker's confirmed now. So this is going to be an Urza Saga-based hand as of now. Which I guess I'm good with. And we're also simultaneously working towards other combos. Like, Urza Saga does get Grindstone at the end of the day, right? That is very much a real thing. That is another Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. Alright, well, hopefully Urza Saga at this point can go all the way, because I'm very much banking on it. Oh no, why did you keep that hand? Alright, if opponent randomly has like a Meltdown caliber card. If they don't, existence is pain here. Yeah. Alright, so for this game on the draw, I'm going to take the Pithing Needle and go down a Force of Will, I think. Alright, land, Lotus Petal, Shadow Spear, or Soul Guide Lantern is 3 artifacts in play, making Thoughtcast cost 2. Again, not really loving the opening hand plan here. Is this fine? Opal, Petal, Emery. Into like turn 2 Thoughtcast or something. Pitch the Cannoneer here just because it's harder to cast than the Thoughtcast. I think on 6 I have to keep this. I'm not like ecstatic about this. Like the hand has real problems. That's a plateau. Okay, that made this hand significantly better. Alright. Feet. Petal. Opal, which has Metalcraft. I think I do like this. Which one's the bait spell? Emery? Emery feels like the bait spell here, but it's real close. Yeah, I was kind of expecting a blast there. Oh, yeah. 1 mana Thoughtcast. Okay. So they've got something else to answer the Emery then. That's fine. I think I can wait on this Grindstone so it doesn't just get eaten by a Prismatic Ending for 1 mana. I expect Emery to eat Swords to Plowshares here just based on play pattern of my opponent not blasting this. Yep, okay. Makes sense to me. And now I am a little reliant on the top deck here. I will play out a Grindstone. I think I hold the second. I think I hold the second for like Meltdown-based reasons. And like as another artifact to play out for a Kappa Cannoneer. Although I guess if I draw exactly Kappa Cannoneer, I really want this other Grindstone in play so that I can cast it next turn. Yeah, that's a little tricky. I don't know. Maybe I can't play Scared of Meltdown, because like Meltdown is just going to beat me anyway, because it gets my lands and a billion permanents along with it. Alright, yeah, Brainstorm away. It just absolutely feels like this is one of those games where my opponent is just going to play a Murktide Regent, and I'm going to die in 3 turns. Oh, okay, that's fine. Like, it's very good, but it's not me dying immediately. Kind of wonder if opponent tapped wrong for it, though. Feels like to me you leave Volcanic Island open because it leaves, like, it makes it easier, yeah, for you to do something like Cantrip off of that. Alright, mill myself, probably. Just give myself more options for if I draw an Emery. Yeah, having a Bobble in there is nice. Podcast is cool. If opponent has a red blast up, they do. I'll call it a turn. I need like an Urza Saga or a Thoughtcast Resolve or a Kappa Cannoneer. Like I have a lot of good draws. Opponent doing that same play pattern. Mystic Sanctuary, sure. Alright. I also can't like manually start milling my opponent out because like there's Murktide Regents to worry about. So like that's a real problem. Jace is also a real problem. My opponent starts fate sealing me. I can clear that with a grindstone. I think I'll end step just continue to grind myself and give myself more options here. Finding an Urza Saga is so good for me. Alright. At this point, I'm assuming that I'm losing this game. I'm going to play it out, but I don't expect that my opponent with 5 cards in hand who's not playing a threat, who has a resolve Jason the Mind Sculptor, is going to let this one slip away. A lot of the things they're doing are looking questionable to me. Like, especially with, like, the tapping of, or rather the non-tapping of Plateau for these things. But, I don't know, maybe they have Red Blast and Source of Plowshares in hand or something and it makes sense, but IDK. Looks weird from this side. Oh no, there's more. Thing on a grindstone is fine. I will grind myself one more time, though. Alright, there's a Kappa Cannoneer in there. God, I wish I would have drawn those cards, though. Holy shit. Alright. I guess I play out a new one of these now. And we'll throw a Bobble out there. A little bit of play around the Jace. But opponent has like 5 cards, and I'm just top decking here. I don't know. They've got 32 cards in deck. Maybe I just, like, say fuck it, turn the corner, and start trying to grind them out manually. Like, a Murktide Regent is already, like, lethal size to me. Let's look at a random card in your hand first. A Red Elemental Blast. Okay, that's not great. Alright. Let the grinding begin. This may be clearing bad cards off my opponent's library. Oh, clear off a Terminus. Nice. Take my extra card. Spellbomb's not great. So I can play Spellbomb, crack Spellbomb. Potentially just use a Mox Opal for the sake of getting a Grindstone activation in on my opponent. Alright, yeah. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do this now. Keep the untapped one. Just grind you. Alright. Guess I can wait on my Bobble. Okay, there are Snapcaster Mages in there. Okay, so they're going to go for a Prismatic Ending and wipe out my Grindstone. I guess every resource that is spent on... God, they have Force too. I guess every resource that is spent on not killing me is fine, right? Okay, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is kind of like 7. Do you cost 1? You cost 3. Make you cost 2. How do I do this most effectively? No way this gets to resolve, but there's also no way this gets to resolve. Like, which one of these is more important to resolve? Kappa Cannoneer is significantly worse when my opponent has, like, Jace plus a billion mana. They can just bounce it out of play for a few turns. I think this is my bait spell. I can just improvise these Lotus Petals so I don't have to sacrifice them. And this either gets Force of Will or Red Elemental Blast. Got Red Elemental Blast, that's fine. Opponent also has, like, Jace Unsummon, Snapcaster Mage for basically infinite blasts, if that's a line they want to take. This game is theirs to lose, right? Like, I am quite dead. I'm just going to hold this until I can try to do 2 things in 1 turn, I think. And I'll just take my beats from Snapcaster Mage. Alright. I just concede for... Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. I just hold the Thought Monitor, though. It's super awkward that I have multiple legendary artifacts in hand when trying to do this whole Urza Saga thing. Okay, yep, just continuing to Fate Sail me into oblivion. Opponent is apparently not concerned about my Urza Saga at all. Which probably doesn't bode well for me, honestly. Ending an Opal. Yes, absolutely. It feels like opponent is at the point where they're like, yeah, whatever, I'll just throw some fucking spells around so I don't have to discard. Alright. I probably have to cast the Thought Monitor this turn. Let's get a new Opal in play, just increase my artifact count. I'll tap the Ancient... No, there's no way this is resolving, right? I can tap the Ancient Tomb later. Alright, attempt Thought Monitor. Assuredly does not work. Yeah, there's a hard cast Force of Will, that's fine. Like, this Jace is a problem for ultimate-based reasons. And it's also a problem for unsummon-based reasons right now. Opponent blew up Prismatic Ending randomly, so if my Urza Saga makes it around the table, I can Pithing Needle Jace. Okay, Snapcaster Mage is not attacking. I think I'm fine with using the life. This game is more likely to end off Jace ultimate than it is off combat damage. Okay, I could get Grindstone and attempt that. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I've already milled over Pithing Needle. Shadow Spear for trample, or Grindstone to attempt to kill. I think Grindstone to attempt to kill. Do I play Painter's Servant to make this more awkward and to make this larger? Or do I just crash in to better play around Brainstorm shenanigans? I think I'm just going to attack in and see if my opponent will spend any more mana now. Let's see. That's not great. Okay. Painter's Servant works through Dress. Painter's Servant names through Dress Down, right? Believe that is correct. Yeah, I think that's correct. So let's go ahead and cast this. Okay. Article that just told me Painter's Servant works through Dress Down. You have lied. I guess that's only true if it is already in play. That sucks. Okay, would not have mattered anyway. Absolutely would not have mattered anyway. Alright. I think this Jace just ultimates next turn, so I'm on, like, draw another Painter Servant or bust. Alright, so now I am on draw a cast effect or bust, and opponent gets to Fate Seal me along the way, too. Yeah, and they didn't use that ability. Alright. GG's. I will go ahead and throw in the towel there. Hey folks, if you enjoy my content and regularly find yourself watching it, please consider becoming a member of my Discord community. You can do this by subscribing to me on Twitch, becoming a YouTube member, or joining my Patreon. It's just really cozy in there, and we have a good time chatting about everything from food to Magic the Gathering to job interviews. That's it. That's the plug. Back to the show. All right, round 4, I think I'm going to keep this opening hand. It has a little bit of a disappearing mana problem, but it has a pretty damn fast goldfish, so I think I'm okay with that. Ooh, we are potentially playing against some sort of Reclaimer Elves deck, or maybe a Depths deck, since that is a Bayou. All right. Saga, Petal, Grindstone, Bauble, 3 artifacts in play. Don't think I mind cracking this immediately in case Force of Will becomes something that's important. Collector Oof in the opening hand. Good thing I can answer that with my Aether. Wait. Fuck. No. No. This is an unfortunate turn of events. Alright, so I don't get to activate this Urza Saga this turn, and this Urza Saga is gonna kind of disappear. Let's play another Urza Saga now. Play Saga, next turn go 1/2 mana, make my artifact construct. Or do I wait a turn so I can get more constructs out of these long term? I think I care more about the long term than the short term. Alright, let's Painter Servant. Everything is not green. Green is the worst one to choose here. Everything can be blue, so I can pitch shit to Force of Will. God, why did the Collector Oof have to be in the opening hand? Like, one more turn, and I'm just so set. Alright. Absolutely fuck my Force of Will plan as well. Life's a little scary. I don't mind drawing Ancient Tomb there. Alright, float a mana. This stuff basically doesn't matter. If I somehow get the Collector Oof out of play, I probably am going to want Shadow Spear for trample. So let's go that route. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts, so I can Thought Cast for 1 mana. Let's do that. Alright, I can play a lot of artifacts that have various assorted activated abilities, which do things. Yeah, like, this is why you play the Collector Oof in Elves, right? Or in other Green Sun based decks. It just lets you steal games like this that you otherwise would have no business winning. And that is a powerful effect. Oh, I'm a little surprised. Okay, yeah, no, that makes more sense. Thought my opponent was going to go, like, end of turn Dryad Arbor for creature count, but grabbing Cradle is just good. Okay. Please don't have a Visionary. Well, I guess it's like, please don't have Visionary or Glimpse or Natural Order at this point, right? Like, alright, at least you had the courtesy to finish me off quickly. Ugh. Alright, I need answers to Collector Oof. I will play 2 Dismembers for that. I'll probably play Pithing Needle as a tutor target, because at least one of these 1-drops is coming out, if not multiple, and then I can think about whether or not I want Force of Negation or Brazen Borrower as well. Like, Karn is also not crazy just to have something that creates construct tokens and is a win condition if I get oofed. My opponent has, like, the oof itself plus 4 Green Suns to find it, plus technically Natural Orders to find it if shit gets weird. I am going to board out Force of Will because my opponent is an Allosaurus Shepherd deck. There's some worlds where this stops a, like, turn 2 or 3 Green Sun, but there's a lot of worlds where this card does nothing. And I'd rather have answers to the thing my opponent is playing. At that point, I'll probably junk Soul Guide Lantern, play a Karn, and then I'll make another pass through here. Spellbomb's not exactly great versus what my opponent is doing, although it's an out to an Archon on Artifact, so, like, that's a thing. I don't love this card. I like pretty much everything else that's here. Do I want to, like, play one for, like, a Miser's Force of Will over a Miser's Spellbomb? No, I'll keep this Spellbomb. It sometimes will just, like, also allow me to break up a Wirewood bounce block loop situation. Alright, this is a Kappa Cannoneer hand, just plain and simple. I don't think I probably crack the Bobble immediately. Doesn't feel like it's going to be right. It feels like this is just a get to enough permanence in play to cast Kappa Cannoneer, kill my opponent with Kappa Cannoneer. Yeah. I'm just gonna chill. Like, let's get to Kappa Cannoneer. It'll take me 2 turns. The next turn I will play Island. I will have 4 in play. Amory will get me a 5th in play, and then the following turn I guaranteed have it. I can also get it this turn if I just draw a 0-drop artifact, which would be cool. Thank you. Thank you. So let's get a Bobble here. So Bobble will be 5th, versus Bobble will be 6th. All hail the mighty Turtle King. And then a turn or so down the line, I can triple or quadruple crack Bobbles to, like, refuel with Kappa Cannoneer. Alright, so there's my turn 2 5/5 that I'll probably attack for, probably just 6 or 7 next turn, and then probably north of 10 the following turn. So my opponent could be on, like, a 2-turn clock. It really depends on how things go here. Just naturally have it in hand twice. Runker, you told me you were a fan of a channel. You didn't tell me you were here to destroy everything that I loved. That wasn't in the initial message. Okay, this is why we planned around this card specifically. Actually, am I supposed to Emery instead? I guess playing the Emery. No, playing the Emery lets me potentially, like, Painter Servant or something. Okay, no, I think I'm good with that. Keep this Emery. Just use the mill ability of the other one. Alright. Always play this. Can't really Thought Monitor effectively from Graveyard. I guess I'll just grab a Bobble for later. He's gonna draw so many cards. So many cards! Alright, let's crash in for 6. And now the real question here is, like, is my clock going to be fast enough given the fact that my opponent already has Gaia's Cradle in play? Like, I can potentially kill my opponent in 2 turns, but, like, it very much feels like my opponent can Natural Order and kill me next turn instead. So, like, there's that. This is just purely a race. B is fine here. Okay. So I can play a Mox Opal. That makes this into a 7 and a guaranteed 2-turn clock. Now I can Emery, get a Thought Monitor, and that will be a better blocker than this. All right, let's yield to this Kappa. Like I know what's going on there. Are these worth paying life for? 2 more damage this turn. This is already a 2-turn clock no matter what. Already unblockable this turn. No, I don't think these are worth paying life for. Let's just bash in. Like, all right, Runkor, can you kill me? Glimpse Chain is probably very good with both Birch Lore and Elvish Visionary in play. Natural Order is very good. Allosaurus Shepherd is probably fine as well. Natural Order. Green Sun only for X equal. Okay, for Allosaurus Shepherd, sure. Into Natural Order. Yeah. Wait. Is that a misclick? Oh no. Oh no. So as you can see, I skillfully piloted that one and played to my house. Yeah. We take those, but opponent 100% had me dead there. 100%. Just like that hoof beats me. And minus the misclick part, opponent played that in a way that they got an Allosaurus. Oh, opponent is saying they can't resize the window or MTGO will crash. I haven't seen that, but I did get crashes for some other things since the last update. Yeah, in the last update, since the last update rather, like when I cast, I think it was Armed and Armored without like an actual dwarf in play, like Magic Online just absolutely pooped itself. Petal, Opal, Bobble. That's 3 in play. 3 artifacts in play. Mox Opal is on. The 2-mana Thought Cast, immediate draw 2, and work towards Kappa Cannoneer quickly. I think this is a keep. I'm just like so fucking in fear of Collector Oof though. Like, oh my gosh. Like with this hand, if I get oofed on turn 2 or turn 3 before I drop a Kappa Cannoneer in play, I don't think I win. Like, I just don't have the second natural mana to make the whole Brazen Borrower thing work. Karn's a pretty respectable card. Alright, Petal, Bobble, Opal, Urza Saga. Is there a world where I just Brazen Borrower bounce Elvish Reclaimer out of play rather than drawing 2? Specifically for Gaia's Cradle this exact turn. I don't think so. I think I need to hit my next land drop too badly. This Goldfish is pretty quickly, actually. Yeah, so let's leave this as is. I can just play Painter Servant on my turn, and then combo kill the following turn. So I have a turn 3 Goldfish, assuming I don't feel the big oof come down. Okay, there's another Kappa Cannoneer. That's a lot of that. But like I very much know what I'm about right now. So let's do this. Everything is blue. Call it a turn. I'm about to get Grindstone. Like, go get your Gaia's Cradle. If I had a little more mana, I would think about Brazen borrowing that out of play to deny some mana in the short term, but I just don't. Don't do it. Okay. Everything is probably fine. Like, now it has to be, like, Gaia's Cradle into another Collector Oof. Yeah, absolutely bog me. I guess Force of Vigor is a thing that could exist. And Force of Vigor would savage me. I think I will go ahead and junk this here since I have enough. Ooh, opponent is drawing a hoof. That's fine. All right. Draw my card. Float my mana. Grab a Grindstone. I think for Abrupt Decay based reasons, I do not wait, and I just go for it immediately. I can try to Thoughtcast into a Force of Will first. What do I have? 1? I am not going to resize that window, actually, given what my opponent just told me. I think I have 1 Force of Will, and I do have 1 extra mana here. Although maybe I don't want to give up the Lotus Petal if something does go wrong. Yeah, so let's redeploy this. Pick this Mox Opal. 3 mana. Grindstone, target you. Okay, and that is good enough to get the concession. Kind of sucks for my opponent that they just like had a misclick due to a Magic Online error and lost the match because of it. But you know, remember you can file for reimbursement when Magic Online related bugs cause you to like lose games or otherwise have your play experience extremely warped. All right, final round here. How is this hand? I could go Seat, Opal, Shadow Spear, Spellbomb on turn 1, have 4 artifacts in play, and then turn 2 Kappa Cannoneer? Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Yeah? 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 And, yeah. Cool. Reasonable Magic the Gathering TM start. Don't waste land and take this away from me. I want this so much. Why do I talk while in these videos? Why do I talk? I wanted my turn 2 Kappa Cannoneer. Alright, how much are you? Or 4 mana, so that is not going to work. I will Thought Cast with a mana floating. Awkward. 1, 2, 3. This can be 4. I can Kappa Cannoneer again next turn. I don't think I want to cycle this right now. That's all fine with me. Hey, cut it the fuck out. I don't like it. Alright, do I crack Bobble? As of right now, I can just, like, 1 mana play Emery. I think I really wanna hit a land. Really wanna hit a land, but, like, my artifact count for Kappa Cannoneer is, like, absolutely relevant to this game on, like, so many levels. Alright. Emery time. Yeah, there's some good shit in there. I think I will chill regarding the Bobble still. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Mox Opal from hand. Alright. Opponent is doing a very good job of answering everything that I am throwing at them. Alright, there is a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mox Opal can be 6. Do I just want to Kappa Cannoneer? Or do I want to Legend Rule and play Thought Monitor? Daze is a thing that exists, but I'm not going to be very good at playing around that this game. It's easier to play Kappa Can. Well, I guess it's easier to play both of these around stuff later. Let's Thought Monitor now. Okay, damn it, I could have gotten it into play. Alright, I've already made my land drop. I know my opponent doesn't have Daze or Force as of right now. That's very good information. I can start playing Kappa Cannoneers and shit. Probably around a Daze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I can play it around a Daze. I also just have an Aether Spellbomb in play. Yeah, feel pretty good about this. I will probably pass on. Ooh. Yeah, that's fine. That is a Murktide Regent going to the bin. Oh. Alright. I know opponent does not have a counterspell. Well, unless my opponent's top deck was a counterspell, they do not have a counterspell. I'm gonna jam. Like, if they have it, they have it, but I just don't think they have it. If they would have cantripped, I would have waited a turn and played Painter's Servant and gone for uncounterable Kappa Cannoneer the next turn. But it just feels like this kills my opponent so much of the time. Like, especially with a Spellbomb to bounce a Murktide Regent out of play. I don't know, maybe if it wins this hard, I'm supposed to wait a turn. But, like, that gives my opponent more time for finding relevant interaction. Probably fine. Like, with Shadow Spear and Spellbomb here, I think I've got this game now. Especially if I get Force of Will backup going as well. Okay, that's all fine. I don't really know what I'm scared of. Multiple Murktide Regents, maybe? Like, this first one is not bad, right? Like, I just bounce it out of play. Crash in for a shit ton of damage. Like, at some point, equip a Shadow Spear. It's just disgusting. I think it's more important to bounce this out of play for 1 mana than it is to play another Kappa Cannoneer. I think I'm just going to go ahead and make everything blue. Get my trigger out of this. Probably, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, potentially Kappa Cannoneer around Daze next turn. Also, is it just more damage to play a Kappa Cannoneer this turn? Or, right, I want to bounce this. Yeah, so no, I won't do that. Alright. Crash in for 6. My opponent to 12. I think I just bounce this right now. I don't want to, like, randomly get got by a stifle in a way that's bad for me. I could have considered cracking the bobble, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or it's just hard casting this and using this to force this creature through. I can also just, like, Shadow Spear, equip, and that's also very reasonable. The Dragon Rage Channeler is going to flip. Well, you know, air quotes flip. If creature land instant, this will be sorcery. Okay. I mean, Wasteland's very reasonable here. Okay. Pyroblast a Painter. I believe I just let that happen. Opponent will crash in for their 3 and then potentially just Wasteland me as a follow-up. I am currently unsure whether or not I want to crack my bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of worlds where I don't. Another Painter's Servant is good. I don't think it's better than just equipping this and giving this lifelink, though. It's just, like, so hard to envision the world where I lose from here. It feels like opponent is potentially playing towards, like, a Pyroblast plus paying 5 on the Kappa Cannoneer. Yeah, that's fine. And I have Force of Will around Daze to stop that. And I also can, like, use Painter Servant for unblockable next turn as well. Okay. You have the blast. Alright. So I let this ward trigger resolve. I let their Dragon Rage Channeler trigger resolve. And then their last 2 cards have to be Force plus blue card, or they're dead. Alright, here we go. Do you have it? You do not. Alright, good stuff. Lots of decision points in that game for where I could have taken different decisions to end up at different places. I'm pretty happy with how I played that one, although, like, maybe I don't go so gutsy on the initial Kappa Cannoneer thing. Alright, I think I don't want to be playing Force of Will here. Opponent is just going to be more efficient at countering stuff than I am. So I have a lot of options for what I can board in. Things I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Pithing Needle for Wasteland. I'm thinking about Karn, because things that are greater than 3/3s are very useful in this matchup. Although this on the draw is a little sketch. I'm thinking about Blasts for expressive iterations and Dragon Rage Channelers, as well as random sideboard cards like Meltdown. And it's not crazy to want an additional answer to something like a Murktide Regent as well. Generally speaking, I feel like most of the cards in my deck are pretty good here. So what are the 4 most valuable of these things? I think it's Pithing Needle. I think I really like Answering Brazen Borrower. Or sorry, I think I really like Answering Murktide Regent. Is that, like, that's the card that can keep up with my Kappa Cannoneer in terms of killing me. Let's do one of those. I think I'll play Karn on the play, but not on the draw. And we'll, I guess, play a split of these worlds where I could consider, like, a Dismember as well. How fast is this hand? Is this as fast as I think it is? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is turn 2 Kappa Cannoneer, but is exceptionally bad versus a Wasteland. I think I'll keep this. Because, like, 0-drop artifacts are good. Lands are good. Cards like Emery are good. I think there's just enough good draws here. Well, is that what I'm playing into Daze? That's probably what I'm playing into Daze. Alright. So there's Painter. I think everything's red. I think everything's red since I have a few blue blasts. Alright. There's a Bobble. There's a Bobble. There's a Lotus Petal. And I do not believe I play anything else here. Please, no Wasteland. Ponder's fine. Okay. That's just digging a land off the top. That's fine. Okay. There is the Wasteland that I did not want my opponent to have. That probably means I crack both of these baubles for lands rather than keep them in play as mana sources of sorts for Kappa Cannoneer. Okay, opponent has a Daze. Good to know. Wait, hold on. Which bauble did I use first? Okay, so opponent doesn't have a daze yet, but they are about to have a daze. Okay, important distinction. All right, let's draw some lands here. Get 3 looks at lands, so like it probably works out most of the time. Ooh, a Mox Opal is legit. All right, so land, Mox Opal. There's Metalcraft. I have 3 mana available. How much do you cost? You cost 3. Make you cost 2. Playing out a Grindstone. Yeah, I guess starting point. Let's see if this resolves. I'm just confirming. I use this bauble first. There's another daze on top of my opponent's library. Okay. Which has just gone to graveyard. I will go ahead and pay for that daze. When it's been set back on mana. Suppose I have a free attack here, because I'm not going to block this thing, because there's already 3 card types in graveyard, and I don't want some awkward shit to happen. But right now, that should be free enough. I control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artifacts, so I can't quite cast that. Yeah, this should be a fine attack. All right. So I think at this point, as long as I dodge like a Meltdown caliber card, I'm pretty likely to win this game. I don't think I just immediately go for the combo and give up this Lotus Petal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think I just kind of chill. Oh, opponent F6 there. I will name your polluted delta. How much do you cost? You cost 1 now. So I will absolutely Thought Monitor. Draw 2. Play an Otawara. Play an Emery. Have lots of good graveyard-based options. Bash in for 1. That was just sloppy from my opponent. I guess they thought they were dead. Just like thought I was going to just activate no matter what. Opponent said I just wanted to see how the combo runs on Moto. Okay, there's a Volcanic Island. So I really don't think it's correct for me to just try and kill my opponent, as weird as that sounds. I think this is still just like continue to do this sort of shit. Yeah, 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 yeah. A 1 Kappa Cannoneer, Gunk, Emery, Bobble, do that thing. Ox Opal, draw 2. Honestly, like given my situation, I'm fine doing this. Kappa Cannoneer, do the thing. 1 mana, Shadow Spear, call it a turn. Actually, I'll card there. And then I'll probably be presenting like both lethal via Kappa Cannoneer and via the actual combo itself next turn. That's all fine. I don't even care if my opponent like meltdowns me or anything. Yeah, like that's totally fine given what I have in play. Like this Kappa Cannoneer is still just gonna win the game. Okay. 8. Grab Shadow Spear. Yeah. Shadow Spear. 1. Play it. Equip. Here. Big. Versus Bobble. Make it bigger. Yeah. Yeah. Go to combat. Crash in with Cannoneer. I don't think I need to crash in with this too for any reason. I think this just like, yeah, opponent asked like what I took out of my deck to make it in there, to make like the painter stuff in there. And what's missing from the 8 cast deck is the like traditional like chalice prison portion of the shell, as well as I think it's 2 of the thoughtcast effects. I think I have 6 instead of 8. I really want to show my opponent the Painter Grindstone combo because like they haven't seen it on Magic Online, but it just feels so correct to me to just continue to win this game with Kappa Cannoneer instead. All right, there's a Murktide Regent that is only a 3/3. Yep, you can absolutely take that out. That's fine. All right, there's a Mox Opal. This Mox Opal makes that unblockable and just gives me lethal here. All right, we have gotten the GGs, and we end up with a 4-1 finish in this league. With the caveat that like one of my opponents absolutely like ran into a Magic Online error with like their game restarting if they resize their library and they clicked on the wrong card with a natural order. So like 4-1 on the scoreboard, like 3-2 in my heart. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I think as that last game showed, this deck has a lot of power and flexibility in how you play out games. And Kappa Cannoneer, even though it's a little less popular than it was a few weeks ago, is still just an extraordinarily disgusting Magic card. Like, being so hard to answer by Legacy standards often means that if it hits play, this is the artifact Murktide Regent, right? It just wins games of Magic. It is a like singularly contained win condition that is very, very, very hard to deal with. That said, like, this card has much greater deck building restrictions than Murktide Regent does. So like, well, I'm very anti Murktide Regent. Like, this card's pretty legit. Like, if you take a look at the number of artifacts that are in this deck, like, it's absolutely astounding, right? So, like, there's 26 artifact spells plus another 4 artifact lands for a total of 30 non-Kappa Cannoneer artifacts, counting the Kappa Cannoneers and the Thought Monitors as well. Like, that's 36 artifacts in this deck, whereas Murktide Regent just requires you to play things that go to your graveyard, and preferably they're instants and sorceries most of the time. I feel like I had pretty good options in most of my games. These blasts kind of feel like whatever. I feel like those are potentially changeable, but I like most of a lot of the other stuff that's here. 4 Force of Negation might be a little bit excessive, but admittedly, we didn't play against the sort of decks where I really, really, really need to be stopping my opponent's degenerate combos. So, like, there's that. I enjoyed this league a lot, and I hope you did as well. If you did, please consider leaving me a like or comment before you go. Those sorts of things help me out for free. And if you want to financially support my content, please consider following me on Patreon, becoming a YouTube member, or doing a donation deck list. In just a couple of weeks here, I'm going to be going full time for the summer, and the support means a lot. All right, have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.